Hello, everyone. It's Monday, and we are back with another episode of Where Is Your Heart? Championing vulnerability as a core human strength. Happy to be back. Hello, Royce.
Hello.
We're gonna get through this show, Royce. We're gonna get through.
Been a fucking Monday, y'all. Oh my god. That's all I got.
Like it's you know how people get upset about people using that phrase from Office Space. Somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
that would get somebody killed today. That's how
all I gotta say is I haven't gotten to choke anybody in a long time. And I'm talking about jujitsu, not actually choking somebody, but like it's a real hair trigger right now. It's just,
I have to say, yeah, this past week just leading into this week, it seems to be a struggle. It's definitely it's just like finding the patience.
Yeah, all right. Are you already starting on gratitude? Is that what you're doing?
Maybe.
Or are you just delaying because fuck gratitude at this point?
No, I'm trying to figure out what gratitude I'm gonna do today. But
right.
Yeah, let's get this over with.
Let's get this over. That's where we're at. Oh my god. I feel like we should. All right. So amongst all the Monday shit, though, something amazing did happen. I've been trying to I've been working on. All right, fucking words.
Yeah, that too.
I'm glad we have great guests today because I don't know if I'm going to be able to word for the next hour. So one of the toughest things about working on this PhD project has been this expectation that I'm going to magically fucking shit out a research question that will make sense to other human beings. And I literally, I've been working on this for a year. I should have a research question. And just kept reworking. And most of them are not questions. They're fucking paragraphs that are really more descriptions with a question mark at the end, right?
Oh,
It was fucking awful. But so Sarah's been watching this show called Alone on the History Channel. People go off into the fucking middle of nowhere and they just survive longer than the other person, and then somebody wins $500,000.
I just can't even understand how that's a show, but go on.
Yeah, all right, but it's actually pretty cool. It's pretty cool, but it is interesting to watch the men consistently, and I mean, let's face it, all but probably 2 or 3 contestants have been white, and of those folks, all but 5 have been men. So it's a white man show. Just gonna say, and yeah. Anyway, all right. I'm not gonna justify it. It's bad, but it's interesting to watch white men get their shit stripped away, right? And so this one character had a moment where he just really just blurbed it, and so Sarah and I were talking about that, and then we went on a hike and ran into fucking boomers being shitty, and so I ranted about that for an hour and almost got depressed again, But in amongst all of that, the research question shat itself out of my body, and I'm real thankful for it, because it came out, and I'm like, well, why didn't I fucking say this a year ago? This is all it is what does white male privilege cost white men? That's the fucking thing I'm studying, is what does it cost those of us with privilege? So anyway, there you go. I'm grateful for that moment in amongst, yeah. Feel like the 7-year-old tossing the horse manure going, with all this shit, there's got to be a pony in here somewhere. Well, I found the fucking pony. There you go.
Well, I'm going to say I have 2 gratitudes, and honestly, I almost feel like...
I talked for long enough, you found one.
I feel like the second gratitude, quite a few people in the world are going to feel like, yeah. First one, I am grateful that I have the opportunity that I will be getting to present New Mexico Entertainment as a television show. I finished the pilot. It is edited and sent off to the station. And then I got nauseated.
Oh, God.
Well, it's just that, there was this, I get into these weird phases because I know that I I want something to be a certain way. I have a certain
Yes.
quality
Yep.
standard, but because of the time we're in and the limitations that we have, like we have to work with what we got.
Yep.
But my brain does not think that way. It's just like, well, if it's not, we don't do half-ass. So just don't do it at all. So I found myself sitting on it for like a month. And finally I was like, okay, yeah, I can't do this. So pretty much I just, I had friends look at it and say, okay, does this seem weird? They were like, no, this is really good. I'm like, seriously? And they were like, yeah. So that made me feel better. So yes, completed and sent. So I am really grateful for that opportunity. I will also say I'm very grateful for Lil Nas X for causing everybody to lose their shit last week. That was some of the funniest stuff I have ever seen on social media. Like, I'm just kind of like, really, people? I mean, and it did. It went right back. Like, we were going to constantly have that whole topic of, can parents just parent? Because I'm just kind of like, when did it become the responsibility of musicians or actors or whatnot to parent your children?
Yeah, but the meme of the week, though, for me, was the fucking one going, y'all are freaking out because Lil Nas gonna turn all your kids gay.
I know, right?
Don't worry. Just play WAP for him. It'll fix them.
Because apparently that's how that shit works.
That's how it works.
That's how your kids become gay. Just watching. But some of the responses I've seen for that, I'm just kind of like, I had to say, my oldest is gay and black, and in fact, that's going to be one of our topics this month. So I'm sitting here going, as these people are freaking out, I'm sitting here going, there is a black gay kid that is watching this guy and saying to himself, I want to be as confident as this person to do what he is going to do for self, that he is going to represent himself how he wants to. He's going to be himself. I mean, with people going off about how he's not a role model, I'm like, maybe not for you, but I can guarantee you he is a role model for someone right now. So that was the one thing gratitude for Lil Nas X and those boots down that zipper pole. Thank you very much. That was, I want those boots.
That was golden.
So that was a bright spot. That was a bright spot.
Hell yeah. And way to bring it home. Like, I think that's the thing that people miss when they're shitting all over somebody who just is being himself like that. Every time we see somebody break ground, there's a million little people looking at him going, I am no longer invisible.
Yep, exactly. And so it almost brings point to the question you found is there are so many people that want to raise hell about things, well, how can he do this? And our children. And I'm just like, how does this really affect you?
Your children might not suicide because they saw this guy on a fucking stripper pole twerking on the devil. Let's just put it that way, motherfucker.
Yep.
So,
Yep. It's
apparently I have a mouth today.
I know. They're going to be a real interesting show. But yeah, that's what I got out of that. And it just reminds me, like, to tell people, parent your kids. If you feel like, oh crap, now this is going to cause me to have a conversation with my kid, then you shouldn't have had kids, because that is stuff that should be happening anyway. You should be having conversations with your kids about questions that they're asking, about ways that they're feeling. And if you get freaked out about a dude in boots going down a stripper pole, lap dancing the devil, you are in a lot of trouble, because, parenthood lasts a really long time.
Well, apparently they've also never read the Bible, because there's far worse shit in the Bible. Just for the record.
And I would just like to point out that pretty much that whole video was a visual concept of what that man was told all his life about because he was gay. And now he puts it in the faces of the people that have been telling him that. And they're just like, oh my God, how can you do that? Nope, you can't. You can't go there because that's what you told him. He gave it to you. He gave it to you.
Yes,
I did.
It's going to be a good show today.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay.
We should get our friends in here fast.
Yeah, we are.
We're gonna go off the rails here. Oh my God.
goodness. Okay. It's going to be the
right.
spicy word your heart.
We got to say hi to Ted or looked at the internet. Yes, you're accurate. Like, if you really think that's the worst thing on the internet, like, give me a break. I watched it. I was like, shit, I'd have shown that to my kids right off the bat. Let's go.
Oh my gosh. And the TikToks that have come out of it, I'm sorry. It has been a treasure trove of hilariousness. I love it. They had one lady that was putting on, she was getting freshened up for the devil. She was in hell. And all of a sudden you hear Nas coming down the stripper pole. And she's like, well, that's that. And put her
Oh my God.
I was like, Ted. So yeah, love it.
All right,
love
so
it.
Ted's got here. Come for the vulnerability, stay for the cursing. All right, we're gonna actually go on this one for a second because Ted's right. Like, yes, all right. But there's something really. First off, I swear this much on purpose. Because this whole like be a little good little boy thing is a fucking classist pile of shit. In the English language, all the swear words are fucking German because that was the lower class people in England when they were deciding, well, French words, oh, those are the good words. We won't use French words as swear words. So this whole fucking thing is classist as hell. So fuck the whole idea of cursing.
Not to mention, I'm sorry, they came out with a whole show on Netflix and broke it down that it is actually better for you to use curse words and not hold back because it venting and lets out that release that we all should be doing. So I'm just saying, like, shoot, fuck is like one of the greatest swear words. You can say that over and over again. You're going to feel better. I'm just saying. Try it today. Try it
also,
today, people.
Mythbusters proved it. It helps with pain.
Yeah.
So anyway, yes.
I can tell you, I said it a lot when I was having my kids, okay? I came up with all sorts of swear words. So yeah, I learned my threshold for pain during pregnancy.
So yes, Ted, come for the vulnerability, stay for the cursing. It's how we undermine empire on this show.
All right. Let's bring our guests on for today. Let's do this.
Am I introducing first?
You are introducing first.
Okay, so I always read these in order, so I hope you put them in an order that you like desire us to read them in.
Well, I'm about to find out.
All right.
I think I did.
Oh, good.
Okay.
So our first guest is the owner and talent agent with Fergan Mayer worldwide. He has more than 20 years of experience covering a wide range and variety of industry-related fields, including film, television, publishing, producing, and management of creative and performing artists. I found my reading glasses. That's what's going on right now. We're getting in the groove. Learning how to read again. Holy crap. No, I got to tell y'all a story when we get... All right. Anyway, he's proud of becoming SAG-AFTRA franchise talent agency and having the process be completed under COVID. And y'all, this is fucking so cool. I don't know if you've ever tried to get into a union, especially in performing arts fields. It's one of the most difficult and yeah, all right, there's some shit there. But anyway, it's really cool. He
Especially
hopes
happened during COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, and then to do it during COVID, I'm like, all right, that's something. He hopes listeners will take away the message that staying focused and persistent achieves goals. And if you do the right things happen. Let's get Peter Yanke out here.
Hey, Peter.
There he is.
Hey, how you doing?
And I have to say thank you for your gracious. So before I introduce him, I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to ask if you pronounce the Y. Pronounce it with a Y at the end of Yankee. And so I'm typing, and I type it with a Y, like because that's where my fucking. And he's like, yes, like Yankee, and he spells it with 2 E's, and I'm like, yeah, that's what that word looks like. That's how that. Okay, there you go. Welcome to Monday. You should go next and salvage this.
So I have to say, our next guest, we were just talking about this. We actually went to high school together. So this is the first time we've gotten to see each other in 25 years is on this show. So, but I'm excited about what she has to share. She's an avid traveler. And she was actually, her job stationed her in a foreign country when the pandemic hit.
Oh, wow.
So this gave her an opportunity to have a whole new perspective on global politics and how things are handled, and a better understanding of how important home can be. So I would like to introduce Ilima Kane.
Hell yeah.
Hello.
I can't wait to hear all you have to say about the steaming pile of shit that is the US of A.
We'll get
Yeah,
there.
that's good. That's
We'll
gonna be
get there.
interesting.
And our final guest, Liz Gingerich, who goes by the stage name Fiona Delev, is a stay-at-home mom of 2 children, an up-and-coming burlesque and cabaret singer, and an all-around artist. She's found strength and solace in her family in this last year, and she wants our viewers to know you can find love through connections in the people around you. Hell yeah. Let's get Liz out here.
Hello, Liz.
Hi.
Yay!
Oh, woo! Yeah, quarantine. Let's talk about it.
Oh, God.
Do we have to? Oh, wait, that's why we're here.
Yeah, that's why you're here. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I didn't consent to being on a quarantine show, but y'all did. Y'all knew about this topic.
So I would probably start by asking. I mean, obviously, the pandemic was difficult for a lot of people. I'm sure we're not alone in saying that. So I will ask, what did you find the most difficult when all of this went down? Who would like
I
to
can
start
go.
first? All right.
At the beginning, so I was stationed in Dublin, Ireland, and you know those rooms at IKEA? They set them up.
Yeah.
That was the apartment I lived in. It was like a big IKEA thing, and so you have stuff, but I lived in IKEA for 5 months, and it was
my
really
gosh.
boring. There is nothing to do, and so I think boredom was my biggest challenge. We were under a pretty severe lockdown. You could only go 2 kilometers from your place of residence, and
Oh, wait, they did
nothing
a
was
lockdown?
open.
Like a real lockdown?
Yeah, like legit. So I didn't know what my friends in the Americas were talking about. I'm like, I don't know why you people are freaking out. We're safe. It was just so different. So yeah, I was exceptionally bored. I think I knit like 6 pairs of mittens before I ran out of yarn, and then I was like, I got nothing left.
Oh my God.
Those weren't Bernie mittens, were they?
Those mittens saved
Those
the
are
world.
those were awesome mittens. I love them.
Oh my, so like did you have a computer and like internet and stuff?
Yeah. I had a computer, internet, I had TV, but there's only so much time personally I can spend in front of a screen. And then you could go for a walk, but I just walked in a 2-kilometer loop around the apartment, like over and over.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, it just gets boring after a while. There's,
Oh, that doesn't sound good at all. At all.
No, I had very generous friends and family that set up like Zoom meetings and things so I could connect with people. But the time difference made it challenging, and so there was still that human connection, but almost all of it was through the screen. I don't think I had a conversation with somebody I knew for about 3 months, like face to face.
Yeah.
I would have lengthy conversations with the grocery store workers who could care less. Like, go away, American lady. You can only ask so many questions about yogurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm gonna ask them all because this is my human interaction for the day.
Right? Yeah.
So what about you, Peter? What was the most difficult thing on your end?
I think, when all of this went down, I was working from home anyway, so that part of it wasn't really a big deal for me. It's more about the things you take for granted. When you run out of something, you just go out and get it.
Yep.
Except, now you either couldn't do it, or if, they didn't have it with certain items. and then there's, and then of course you have to put on the mask, and then you got to social distance, and it's like this whole level of just underlying stress. I mean, you're walking around fine, but underneath you're just like constantly monitoring things. It's almost like Arnold Schwarzenegger with all of his little screens going behind his eyes, and you're analyzing all of these different risk assessments and all of this other stuff. So I think that part of it really wears on people after a while. And then sometimes I saw a few blow-ups with people in the grocery stores and restaurants and different things, because they were just tired of it, and something's got to give,
Yep.
So
Yeah. Yeah. And where are you stationed out of right now? Like, where are you living?
I'm in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, which is basically a suburb of Albuquerque.
Yeah.
It's its own little town.
Yeah,
And it
it's its
never
own
lets us
city,
all
but
forget
I mean, there's no like distance between them. There's just a sign that says now you're in Albuquerque and you're leaving Rio Rancho, and that's it. So
Yep.
And how about you, Liz?
I think the hardest thing for me was just getting stuck in the monotony of my day. It was the same shit, different day, but it didn't feel like a different day. It just all felt like just the same day. It's been like 1 year long day, and with my kiddos having to, be stuck at home, they couldn't go play with their friends. I couldn't take them to the park. We couldn't do anything. And I know that really my son is a homebody. Like he couldn't give two fucks less that he had to stay inside all the time. But my daughter, she's like, she's the little social queen. And I know she really, it was difficult watching her suffer through this last year, because I know that she was suffering, through depression, even though she can't necessarily name it as that. I know that that's what she was going through. And it was really hard to watch, as we started, venturing out here and there, and she could start seeing some of her friends and having friends over and making friends in the neighborhood. I know that it was nice to see her, blossom again a little bit.
Yeah. I can understand that.
Yeah.
I remember when it all started, my whole sense was like, okay, I'm going to just try to, well, okay, I can't do that, then I'm going to do this. And when you're in the entertainment field and like entertainment gets shut down like that, and you're still over here like, no, I'll just go to this bit. No. Okay, well, I'll just, no. So pretty much I spent 3 months in bed. I spent 3 months in bed because I just, that depression hit hard because I tried every hustle possible. And like COVID was like, COVID don't care. COVID don't care about your hustle. You're going to stay in this house. That's what you're going to do.
It really, it's fascinating to me because I'm a homebody. You mentioned homebodies, and I'm definitely more on the introverted end of things. I'm a homebody. My work is out of the house. I'm a homemaker. My coaching practice is out of this little void that I'm in now. Like, we've been doing this for almost a year. Why don't I have any? Look, Peter, like, he's a guest, and he's like,
he whipped that up today. He whipped that up today.
God
We're
damn.
sad. I'm like, bedroom. Hey, I'm good.
So where you,
send me your address. I'll mail it to you. You gotta leave my name on it, though.
I was gonna say we're gonna get Farragut Mayor in there. So, oh shit, there was a point in all that. I lost it.
Bloopers. Okay.
Oh, no, it was something. It was actually something good.
You were being a homebody, but maybe it wasn't all you thought it would be.
Yeah, no, so like right off the bat, I immediately set up a bunch of tabletop games on Zoom with friends, like I think 5 games, like with different friend groups. So like I had all of that. I have depression shit, like it's part, like I'm always prone to this shit. But I have all the food supplements for it. I eat right for it. I exercise 6 days a week for it. Like I do all the things that should insulate me for it. It still fucking caught me. And this, I had to say goodbye to a friend the other day and he's vaccinated. So it's the first hug that I've given to somebody outside my house in a year. And it was one of those moments of just complete breakdown. Like I'm breaking down as I think about it, just like what that meant and what that was like. And because I need that stuff. I need human interaction, even with all the homebodiness of it, in the home rootedness of my life. If I'm not out there interacting with people at least a couple times a week, man, it's shitty. So yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, and the differences for each of us too. Like you mentioned your two kids that are different, Liz. Like, yeah, this has been fuck this year.
Yeah.
I say nay, nay.
last year.
No.
That's when it all started.
What the hell is this? The Hangover? Like,
Well, I can say, I mean, I one of my releases, I guess if you want to call it that, is to go out and sing karaoke occasionally too, and of course that is
oh yeah,
yep.
That was gone, and it's still gone, although the bars are open to some degree, but yeah, so that was an adjustment too.
yeah.
I thought it would be easier once the bars open. Like, I thought to myself, wow, okay. I was so excited when one of my favorite bars opened, and I went in there and only lasted 5 minutes. Like, I kind of forgot about the whole notion of we've been indoors this whole time and not surrounded by people. So the minute you go into an area that has a lot of people, I was just like, oh, you know what? This is okay. I'm going to go now. Yeah. So I now realize I'm going to have to get back into like being around people, which is the strangest thing I've ever said in my life. Ever.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get back into being around
people. I feel that.
I'm a producer, for Pete's sake. That's the most saddest thing I've ever said.
So yeah, I guess there's a question. Like, what did you learn about yourself during quarantine?
I learned I'm not good at being bored. well, crazy.
The mittens.
So many mittens. And then I ran out of yarn. I was like, what else can I knit? Oh wait, I live in IKEA. Nothing.
The drapes. You can shred the drapes and then re-knit them.
Right? I had a sweater that had a hole in it. I'm like, I could unknit that and knit it again. You know, but it's like extreme level of desperation of boredom, which I wasn't good at.
The side eye there is real.
Right? That was a struggle. But when I got home, it was also hard because then you have to quarantine, and then you can still only see a few people, you know, like one at a time outside, and now it's the winter. And so I enjoy being by myself, but apparently not all the time. That was the one thing I learned, is that I actually need to be around people, and even just people watching was so satisfying at the airport. When I finally got to go home, I was like, oh, look at all those people doing stuff. You know, I can't be near them, but I can watch.
It's like, where are they going? What are they going to do?
I know. Somebody's eating something. That's interesting. Everything was interesting. Which I think is why we're overwhelmed when we get into those populated spaces, because we're like, whoa, too much. Back up.
Yeah, we all have a little bit of claustrophobia now, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, it's an adjustment now. I mean, like I said, I've worked from home for a long time, but and that's actually going to change once everything opens back up again. But the biggest adjustment as we're coming out of this, of course, is going into public places and talking to people again coherently. You know, because you haven't had to do it in so long, and then you go and you're trying to have intellectual conversations with people, and you're almost forgotten how. And
I kind of wonder, like, what's that going to do? Like, there are certain moments when you can see evolutionary shifts in language, especially a malleable language like English. Like, do you think that this actually is going to do something? Like, what do you?
Well, I think it's, you know, it's like I was saying before, where you now you're constantly going to be analyzing things, at least for the foreseeable future. Yeah. You know, where you're just assessing risk all the time, because, you know, it's not going to be truly gone for a while, if it ever is. You know, it might just stick around like the flu.
Exactly.
And so now you're walking around, you're living your life, you're trying to be normal, but it's just always there. And you know, the people that never cared it's not going to matter to them, but the people that cared even a little bit, it's always just going to sit there under the surface. And I think that is going to have an effect to some degree.
All I heard right there was that all I have to do now to keep people away from me is put on a mask.
That's what it sounds like.
This thing is going to stick around.
What that sounded like, yeah.
If this thing sticks around as the new flu, I'm like, oh my God, I could just repel fuckers at any given moment. Just put on my mask and be like, ah. Right? Like, I have shithead repellent right off the bat. Everybody get away.
I know my husband, he is a teacher. He teaches adults. And yeah, he says that he's never going to stop wearing a mask. He loves it. He feels like a ninja all the time.
You feel like a ninja.
He feels like a ninja. I'm like, okay, babe.
I wouldn't mind ditching it for working out, but yeah.
I think the thing that I learned the most about me was just how much I needed to work on some of my relationships around me, you know, with my husband, with my children. You know, I think my husband and I I didn't realize how much our relationship had kind of deteriorated until we were stuck together in quarantine. And we hit a point close to the end of last summer where we finally sat down together and we kind of had a come to Jesus moment. And we said, we got to do something about this, or that's it, or this has got to end, because we just couldn't continue doing things the way that we had been doing them. And so we decided to, you know, put the work in and really focus back on each other. And now we're still here. We'll be celebrating 15 years of marriage at the end of the month.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I'm older than I look.
I will definitely say I'm pretty sure that when it came to relationships with married, they mentioned divorce was like even higher during COVID than, you know, but yeah, it forced couples to really see how strong their relationships were, and some of them didn't last very long. But I mean, I can understand that closeness is, I mean, how close can you get?
Well, and with the kids too. I mean, there were a lot of them that are learning from home. I mean, they're around all the time, and you love your kids, but you know, once in a while, it's nice to have a break.
Oh my goodness! Oh,
yeah,
it's true.
Yep. Like I practically, you know, I only live a half mile from my kids' elementary school. So I ended up walking them to school today. And like, I practically skipped home because I was like, I'm free. Oh my goodness. What am I going to do with myself until 3:00? Oh my God. Oh man, it was like today was probably, I mean, yes, it was a Monday, but this is probably one of the fucking best Mondays that I've ever had. Like, oh my God.
Oh,
it's beautiful.
Oh, my goodness.
It was amazing. It was a great day.
I hadn't realized as a homemaker, like how much I am used to having the house all to myself. Like, because our kids are 20 and 22, but they both ended up back home by the end of the thing. And our daughter now has moved out again, and we'll see. But anyway, blah, blah, blah. All that to say, I didn't realize until both kids had finally gotten jobs during the quarantine, and all three, my spouse and the two kids, were all out of the house at the same time. And it was one of those, what's wrong here? Oh no, this is what it used to feel like. Now I can get shit done instead of just tripping over all the shit that everyone else likes to leave in my way while I get shit done. So yes.
But did you get it done? That's the question.
Yes, actually, for most, but the last 2 months have been just complete shit mentally. So there you go. Man, depression. I don't get shit done like when that's going on. But yeah.
I still have a full garage, so don't feel bad. So.
Oh goodness! I now have a full garage.
I got a couple of the things done today, but for the most part, yeah, I went to Walmart, and you know, I was doing kid related things because like my son needed a lunch bag because he was in preschool last year, so I didn't need to bring him a lunch. Now he's got to have that. So I was just buying snacks for them pretty much, but I wandered up and down almost every aisle in that store. So I was like, I don't have to answer to anybody right now. I can just be free.
So she became one of the regular Walmart people walking through that just walk at 5 miles per hour, just like.
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
Yes, I was. And I didn't give a fuck who was behind me. Like, go around me, bitch.
Reading labels and everything.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. I was.
Well, Peter and Liz, you're both you both deal in entertainment too. I mean, Liz, you were just starting with burlesque, and
Yeah.
doing performances, and then bam, whacked out.
Yeah.
I am Peter. How did you? I mean, being an agent, if your clients aren't working, I mean, what did you do?
Well, my business is multifaceted, so I've always got a few different things going on the publishing side of things with either writers or musicians or other things like that, artists. I have a little bit of an online art gallery that I'm building and going to expand it into a physical gallery at some point. But so I've always got some things that are in process, but all of that stuff revolves around people consuming it in some form.
Mm-hmm.
And so it really turns into more of, well, how can I prepare for when things are back to normal? It's not necessarily, am I going to make a whole bunch of money? It's how can I prepare now that I have this time? And that's kind of why I was able to take the steps needed to get franchised with SAG-AFTRA as a talent agent. Which all got finalized at the beginning of the year, towards right around the middle of January, and just in time for everything to kick in. So, it was a blessing in one way. Certainly, not something I'd wish on anybody, but you make the best of it as it's happening, and take it where it goes.
So I would say, yeah, you're lucky being that you got the clients that you do, and you all have these different facets of the business. You're still able to work. Liz, how did you handle it? There's no stage to perform on.
Yeah, I my burlesque career lasted a whole 2.5 months. I debuted on stage on the end of December in 2019, and my last show was in early March of last year, and I have not been on stage since. And yeah, that has sucked ass. It really has. I tried to be as involved, I'm still trying to be as involved as I can be. I'm working on new acts for when things do open back up, because they will. That is a huge, even though it was, so short-lived, it's become, a big chunk of my life. I've made tons of friends in the burlesque community and, in the drag community, and it hurts not being able to see those people as much. I've barely seen any of them in the last year. I've barely seen you, Teresa, for crying out loud.
I know. Not being able to do Rocky, that was probably the thing that hurt me the most. And it would have been our 10-year anniversary of bringing it back to Albuquerque, and we didn't. That probably was the thing that I was like, oh man, this shit is real. That's what did it for me.
Oh, that week, the weekend that we should have done Rocky Horror was like, oh man, that was a shitty weekend for me. Yeah. I had the biggest sad that weekend, and it was really nice because like my kids saw it, my husband saw it, and they just wrapped themselves around me and gave me all the snuggles, and like it brought me tissues.
Yep, that was a challenge. That was a challenge.
Oh yeah, I know. It's like I wanted to shake my ass for Barry Bostwick so bad. Like, ugh.
Yep, we're gonna. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Yes, it will.
You will shake your ass soon.
Yep. Yes, I will.
So, Ilima, I have to ask you were out of the country when all of this happened. When you got back to the States, was there this sense of like people talking to you like, oh my God, it's been horrible, and you can't believe, and you were just, how did you handle the ridiculousness knowing where you were coming back here?
I think the most challenging part was the amount of chaos around information. So when I was in Ireland, there were regular news reports that showed you all the data. It seemed very transparent, very believable.
Wait,
everybody was
news?
On the same page.
No. Not news as entertainment?
Yeah. So then I came home, and it was just like I couldn't even watch the news or listen to any media. I could, maybe pick up snippets here, but at that point I was like, never mind, none of it's true. I don't care. I'm just going to be and live through it, and I'll figure it out later. But it was that I think was probably the biggest shock of, This is how you keep an entire community calm. You are transparent and honest, and you give them information in a very consistent way. And this is how you create utter chaos. You tell different stories on different outlets, and you convince people that the other person that they talk to in their life on a regular basis is wrong. And so just the amount of discord and disagreement around what is literally scientific fact it was just mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And I think the science ultimately ends up getting a little distorted too, because they're trying to make it politically correct at the same time to try to keep things calm, but it really just makes it worse. I think on some level, because they're not just saying it like it is. They're trying to, round the edges a little bit.
Yep. We're going to sugarcoat for you adults. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in real life.
I think that's really an interesting observation to me, because I hadn't. So I have the BBC app on my phone because okay. There's a lot there, but I hadn't thought about what happens to news sources in a country when you have a funded agency whose job is to report, to do good centerline reporting. And we can critique the BBC. There's plenty to critique about it, just like so many other things. But to have something whose goal is to get that, we have those agencies in this country, but nobody gives a shit about them. And it's yeah, that's striking to me, that the chaos, and who thrives in the chaos,
It reminded me of, when I was a kid, news was very different than it is now. And I forgot until I was in a place where news was presented in the way it used to be here in the States. And I came home and saw that drastic difference. It's kind of like when you see your own kids grow, you don't notice how tall they're getting, but then you see a niece or nephew and you're like, oh, you're so tall. It was like that kind of, you got to have some distance to see it. And it was a little bit, I didn't expect that to be so shocking.
Yeah.
See, I have to agree with that, because I think that's when the whole fake news thing started, and news has never been truthful. And I was just kind of like, obviously I'm looking back to, when Dan Rather and all these other people when I was little was on, and I just never got a sense of they're lying to me. It's like every time they spoke, there was this,
integrity?
Yes, thank you. That's the word. It was an integrity to news. And now it's, as Royce said, it's just become entertainment. It's there to, snack on, or give little bite-sized pieces, because now people can't watch news reports that are longer than 2 minutes. It's like it's too much for them. So,
I'm struck too as I remember that, that was very white male broadcasting. Let's also be clear about the biases that were very present during that time. But I still think there's got to be another way forward that has us have a variety that reflects humanity and gets rid of entertainment's entertainment. It's great. I love entertainment. I was just logged into an online game. That's how I lost track of time and didn't set my watch correctly today. But how do we I'm very clear that that's very different from trying to get at what are the facts of a situation, what are the reactions around the situation, what are the different perspectives on it. And I think you mentioning integrity, I think that's a big thing. I think we can do this without having just white men on the screen, I hope.
I think we have to do it without just having white men on the screen. Maybe that's what got us a little bit into this mess. There was a little too much trust in the existing status quo, and it ran away with a little bit. I think if we had a little more diversity, we might have been able to maintain a little more integrity.
That's well said.
Yeah.
Damn. We just end right there.
Good night, everybody.
Royce and I are leaving now.
Oh, hell no. I'm staying for the show. That's because
so we have a quote for Ted.
Yep.
the false equivalence of bias and opinion.
Yes. Yep.
Truly.
And not distinguishing it. Like I remember, wasn't it the end of 60 Minutes? What was the guy's name? Andy
Rooney.
Andy Rooney, yeah.
Right? And it was just so clear. It was clear that you are now going to an opinion world.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And it wasn't that his opinion world didn't help us understand something differently. It very much did. But it was also segmented and separated, not to be understood as news. And now we have entire shows from fuckbags like Tucker Carlson presented as news, and it's not. It's not in any way, shape, or form.
Because they just made it, because everything became reality TV. I just remember when.
Let's put air quotes around that. I don't know who's fucking reality TV. That is. It ain't my goddamn reality.
But when the 24/7 news cycle started, when CNN was created, when you could see news 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, I think that only made matters worse, essentially, because people cannot handle that much. Is like, any bad news, any disaster. It's like, oh, okay, but we got to give them something else that's gonna, keep them riveted. And so they started coming up with news stories and TV shows that seem like news, but really it's not.
Blurred the line.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so now that, it's amazing to me when people are like, watch Fox News, that's really going to tell you the truth. And I'm just like, I got through 5 minutes of Fox News. I'm amazed I got through 5 minutes. And unfortunately, it was like the 5, I think, was a group. And I was like, oh, wait, that's not really news. It's like everything is an opinion show. It's like an opinion show now. And so, I'm kind of like, I would like to get back to news. I really would. That would be nice.
From Trevor Noah and from John Oliver.
I watch. Last Week Tonight is my new show now. I love that. John Oliver, man. Plus, anybody British, when they talk, I'm just like, I'll listen to you. You must know. You sound intelligent. I was just telling that to somebody. I was like, that's why they get British people to do stuff. So they're like, oh my, they must know. They must know.
And the constant news cycle, especially when it's on the Fox side of things, there's some on the other side of things too, but on Fox especially, it's always this in-your-face confrontational whatever, and you get desensitized to it after a while, and then you don't even know why you believe the things you believe, but they just become this belief for some reason.
Repetition.
Yep.
And social animals, and repetition matters.
And then the shocking stuff isn't shocking anymore. It has to always get kicked up a notch. And
I still find it interesting when it all started, and you have scientists coming out and doctors, and they're just like, this is what we know. And you kind of, when they start a sentence like that, to me, I'm kind of like, okay, then things may change because we're still learning. So things may change. And somehow
which is what all the scientists kept saying.
Exactly.
We're learning. We know this works. Do this for now. We're learning. We know
Exactly.
this works. Like,
so when it became this whole, they don't know. They just said don't wear masks, and now they're saying wear masks. So how do we know if masks really work? And I'm like, because as things change,
they never said don't wear masks. They said don't buy all the N95s that our medical facilities need, you dumb motherfuckers.
Right.
But yet it's that sense of like people, oh my gosh, it was, I just could not believe how insane media got when it came to truth and everybody's truth, and this is the truth. And I'm just like, or the fact that, now I guess Fauci was in on it. He knew this was coming. So he must have had a part in it. And I'm like, or looking through history and how viruses and events happen, he knew that we were possibly going to have another one. So
maybe climate science has been telling us this, that we can reduce the barrier between us and all these species.
This whole idea that we should prepare for one just meant, it's a conspiracy. It's like the fluoride in the water. It's like,
no, it's not a conspiracy. It's God punishing you.
Oh my God! Oh, that's right. That's right.
Like that's what I want. That's what I want.
But Jesus loves you.
Yeah.
But Jesus loves you.
Little Nas X. We're going back
All
to
right.
that.
Thank God for bloody Nikes. All right, so here's a question. What's something that you know now that you really treasure about the world, about your family, or about, like, I don't know, something? What's something that you know now that you didn't know a year ago before this thing?
It's a good question.
You're thinking, Royce.
That's a good question.
Oh, man.
It's a stumper. I think I know now that it's important to sort of carve out those little moments in whatever way is going to be useful for you at the time. Like I'll get a card from a friend for Easter and it makes my day, and it's just a Easter card, or I'll get like a little note, a postcard from somebody at work because they want to connect again. Just those little things that maybe seemed a little trivial before. They probably would have made my day before too. We just didn't slow down and do them. So I think that's my big takeaway of if it pops in my head and I think somebody might enjoy it, just do it. It's not going to make their day worse. So why not make their day a little better?
Yeah, and I think I would agree with that and piggyback on it and just say that the little innocuous interactions that you have with people on a day-to-day basis matter. And you really have to be mindful, even if you're not necessarily in a good space, that you don't spread that out to other people, because it just multiplies. And if you make someone else's day crappy, they're going to make 3 other people's day crappy. And so you really have to keep your stuff together a little bit, and try to, like she said, just spread that joy. Make someone's day, and because it really does matter.
The ripples are real.
Yep. I know. For me, it was really interesting and heartwarming to see the connections that people were able to make, even though they couldn't, necessarily be together face to face. Like I know my neighbors now because I couldn't really spend a whole lot of time with my parents because they're both, they're aged. And I finally hugged my dad for the first time in a year yesterday when we were leaving their house for Easter. But the connections that I've made with other people around me in the last year have really meant a lot to me.
Yeah, I'm sitting with that. Ilima, I think you mentioned it. The people watching and like the simple joys of like human interaction that have been deprived of now mean something very different. Like how do we hold on to that? How do we promote that in ourselves? Like that's the question that I'm sitting with, because there's been major shifts there, and our priorities can reflect what we found to be meaningful during this time. So I think that's the question in my head right now is,
well, from what everyone said, it is that sense of, and I really hope that as this starts stabilizing, that people remember this, and it's in a sense, don't take the little things for granted. I think this made us take a really good look at the opportunities we miss out on by not visiting friends, by not taking even time out for ourselves. We're always working, we're always hustling, and you're not even taking time out for yourself. I had 2 high school friends pass away during this time. Yeah. And it was strange because it was that sense of, I just talked to them. But, you look back and really that talk happened a year ago. So it's, I would hope that out of all of this, that people take a look at what we didn't get to do, what we were deprived of for a year, and remember that the little things matter. Don't take anything for granted, because you don't know how long your friends, family, whatnot's going to be here. You don't know how long you're going to have the luxuries you have. So cherish every moment.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think if we all did this right, we've all just turned into our grandparents who used to tell us, like, don't worry about that. Pay attention to this. You know,
Exactly.
Yep.
I feel like I've channeled my inner grandmother significantly lately.
And they were so infuriating too, because they're
Right?
like, no, but this is really important. No, honey, you are not going to give a shit about that in like a
Right?
day.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Very true.
it is time. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. So I would like to go to each of you. Either let us know what's happening, what's coming up for you, or what you would like to leave the viewers with. A little tidbit of wisdom. Who wants to go first?
I'll go. I mean, obviously, the film industry is picking up again. So, as that progresses and things get back to a little bit more of a semblance of normal, I'm going to be getting increasingly busy. So I'm looking forward to that. And like I said earlier, now that I'm franchised agency, that just makes things a lot easier for me on a lot of levels. But I've also got some authors with some books coming out, and some musicians that are releasing music, and some artists that are got some new work that we're putting into the gallery, and so it's going to be a really good year. I'm really looking forward to it, and it's just a matter now. It's kind of funny because you work really hard for something, and then you get to the point where everything is just going to finally let go, and then you have to figure out how to deal with that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, this is what I asked for. Okay, yeah, I better get my act together here and get organized and make sure I'm doing my job, because so that's what I focus on, is just doing the right things. Like I said in the beginning, you do the right things for other people, and the right things will happen for you, and that's kind of where my focus is. So
Wonderful. What about you, Liz?
I mean, I don't have anything on the books yet. Not yet. But I'm looking forward to eventually, getting back up on stage and performing again. I know, Sidewinders is they're testing the waters right now. With some open mic nights, and I know that that's eventually going to turn into shows and stuff again. And I look forward to the Albuquerque Social Club opening back up again, and the Black Cat Community Center, which is going to be a gay and lesbian community center in Albuquerque that is going to be it's going to be a performance space. It's going to be a community center. There's going to be classes, a gallery, a retail space, and it is opening on May 1st. So yay, that's coming up really soon. And I'm going to be helping out with that in some fashion. I don't know what they want me to do yet, but I don't know. I think that we're seeing something of a light at the end of the tunnel. I think we all just need to just stay strong, and I've seen a different side of humanity through all of this. Some of it has been just downright fucking awful, and some of it has been downright fucking awesome. I've seen some of the best things come out in people through all of this, and so like Peter said, I hope that we all just remember this, and that we're all going to come out on the other side.
All right, you have the last word, Ilima.
I have zero plans, which is sad, but I do have big plans to go and support all the people that have not been able to get support. I want to go to live performances. I want to go out to eat and tip big. So I'm looking forward to my second vaccine so I can do all those things safely. I want to volunteer again, all those things. So I guess my way of closing is to encourage everybody to support each other. And when you do get out there, just give a little extra, because it's been a little rough and rougher for some of us than others. So if you're in a good position, just pay that forward a little bit.
That's good. Yep. That's good.
Pay it forward.
Hell, pay it backwards. Let's get reparations too. Fucking unfuck this entire goddamn country. But anyway.
That's for another show.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for coming on tonight and sharing your experiences with us and the things you've learned and just showing everybody, we're all in this together. It wasn't.
And thank you for like talking about your flexibility and all the ways, like all three of you had different ways that you got creative with what is, and different ways that you had to like experience what is. So yeah, thank you for bringing it all. Appreciate it, y'all.
Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. It's a great platform, and it's some good honest talk I think that people need to hear. So
That's how we feel.
I don't know. I was a little on the angry edge today. But anyway,
No.
You mellowed. You mellowed a little bit.
we're trying.
the next episode is, can you be too honest?
Context
Thank you.
matters,
Yeah.
right?
All right. Well, thank you guys. We're going to go ahead and close out. So I'm going to say goodbye to each and every one of you as you say it out. Bye. All righty. And thank you for joining us again for another Monday of Where's Your Heart? And I forgot to give my little spiel, so I got to give it at the beginning. As you have noticed, we are only airing on YouTube. Yes, this started today. So let everybody know. So as you're watching this, please hit the subscribe button so you can support us every Monday as you have, but be a subscriber as well. And make sure to click the notification bell so you know when we post new content or go live.
There it is.
Spiel done.
I'm always impressed with like, and we have little bits that we each remember that we're supposed to do. Like at some point we're gonna have to trade bits, but we're gonna have to make note cards first. Because
Exactly. You'll just hold it up.
as we pass them back and forth, we're gonna forget things. Anyway, there you go.
All right. Well, say goodnight, Royce.
Good night, Royce.
And we will see you all next week.